What's up, everyone? Here's another episode of Random Memory Tips, and in this episode, I'm going to teach you how to remember language vocabulary. How's everyone doing? So last weekend I got the privilege of speaking at Silicon Valley Comic-Con. This one had a focus on tech. So there was the comic side of things, which was fun and entertaining to watch, everybody dressing up. And then the other part of it was tech related, which pulled in different companies, a lot in the space and science realm. So I got to meet a lot of these people. I got to meet Buzz Aldrin, Adam Savage from Mythbusters, but probably the best discussion I had was this woman that I spoke to who was the inspiration for Amy Adams' character in the movie Arrival. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Very cool movie about aliens arriving. Amy Adams plays a linguist, someone who studies languages. This scientist was at the Comic-Con and I got the opportunity to speak with her. And we got to talking about languages, and it reminded me of one of the common questions I get is, can you speak multiple languages? The answer is yes. I speak French fluently and English and a little bit of Spanish, enough to get by. But I wouldn't say that I'm a polyglot or anyone who just absorbs languages. And in fact, to learn a language is a hard thing. It's not just memory. People ask me, can you memorize a language? And yes, I could memorize a lot of vocabulary very quickly, which you need to have in order to speak a language. But I'd still need to practice to learn the vocab. It's not so simple as just memorizing. The nice thing about memorizing foreign language words is you don't need a memory palace. It's all about linking. So what do I mean by linking? There's the memory palace technique, which I've talked about in past videos. Go check them out if you haven't. Then there's this kind of like technique that's not as powerful as the memory palace method. It has certain strengths that only the linking method has. And I'll go over linking method for long lists in another video. The basics of this linking method is taking one image and linking it to another image. A foreign word and its English translation. Foreign word, English word, boom. Basically, imagine the one thing, whatever it sounds like, whatever it reminds you of, some picture for it, come up with a picture for the second thing, and imagine them interacting together. That's linking, taking these two images and smashing them together. So when I was talking to this Amy Adams character, I brought up something that I've always thought was kind of interesting, and that is that, to my knowledge, the best of my knowledge, the word butterfly is unique in every language, at least almost all of them. I'm going to teach you 10 different ways to say the word butterfly. The point is to take 10 different examples, see how I would go about turning it into a picture and linking them together so that you can take those examples and apply them to whatever language that you want. Okay? Nice. All right, so you know the first one, that's butterfly in English. Number two, we're going to talk about French. And the word for that is papillon. The sound is papillon. I think of a puppy on something. Puppy on something. So our left-hand image, the English image for butterfly, is going to be the actual butterfly. Okay? And then the foreign language is going to be the thing we kind of ad-lib. In this case, we have a puppy on. Then we're going to mash them together, right? So I'm going to picture a puppy on top of a butterfly. Okay? To remember that this was the French language, papillon, puppy on, what we should do is add some element of French. What's something French, right, that you think of? So a puppy on a butterfly, maybe give this puppy a little mustache, a little beret, and a striped shirt. Puppy on a butterfly. So let's move on to the next word. We're gonna learn how to say butterfly in Spanish. So the word for that is mariposa. So the image for that is gonna be marry pose. So you're getting married, and this is the pose you take, whatever ridiculous pose you want to imagine. You're there at the end of the aisle, about to get married, and you strike a pose with a beautiful butterfly on your finger. So it's your marry pose. To help you remember that it's Spanish, just imagine this wedding decoration, these bullfighter outfits, and there's these Spanish flags draped everywhere. Tapas is being served at this wedding, and you're doing your marry pose with that butterfly. Okay, that's our third one. All right, next one's a good one. It's Italian.
Scusi, mi scusi.
The way to say butterfly in Italian is farfalla, which, if you're familiar with pastas, farfalla is the one that looks like a butterfly. If you've never had that pasta before, then let's come up with an image. The way it kind of reads, it looks like a far fall. Someone is falling very far. Italy is known for its beautiful coastlines. Often off the cliffs, they've built these beautiful villages. Of course, we gotta tie it back to a butterfly somehow. So maybe you think you're a butterfly and you jump off this cliff, this beautiful Italian coastline cliff, and it's a far fall and you plummet into the ocean. Okay, Dutch. Here's how to say butterfly in Dutch. It's vlinder. It kind of sounds like a blender, so I'm gonna picture putting a butterfly in a blender, maybe a ton of butterflies in a blender, and it just makes this smoothie of butterflies. Let's tie it back to Dutch. Windmills, right? They're famous windmills. So maybe this blender is just a big windmill, right? With a cup on top of it, and that's where you're putting in the butterflies. It just spins like it normally does, and you have this blender of butterflies. This is my favorite one just because all the other ones sound very beautiful. They're short, they're kind of cute. German, of course, is pretty harsh, but it's a good one. It's fun to say. And the word for butterfly in German is Schmetterling. I don't know if I'm saying that correct, but Schmetterling. Here's where sometimes you have to take liberties with the image for the word. It doesn't always have to be exactly close to it. So I'm gonna go with, and hear me out, butter. I'm gonna imagine smearing butter, right? That helps me get that kind of shma sound. So I have this smeared butter, schmutter. Maybe let's imagine there's sausage links, specifically bratwurst or some really serious German sausage, right? So this butterfly is smearing butter all over these links, and they're German sausages. Portuguese, borboleta. I'm gonna imagine there's a barbed wire fence and someone is letting me through it. So barbolette, barbed wire let. Who's letting me in? Of course, it's a nice big butterfly who's standing guard. And we have to tie that back to Portuguese somehow. I think of Brazil, it's just sambaing while he lets you through the barbed wire. Next is Danish. The word for butterfly in Danish is sommerfugel. What it makes me think of is a summertime. I think of the bugle chips that you put on your fingers, little cone-shaped things, and you eat them off, right? You're in the grass, sun is out, it's a beautiful summer day, and maybe a butterfly comes and eats each one off your finger. Maybe the butterfly lands on your hand and then asks you, hey, I don't eat bugles, do you have any Danishes? That way you can tie it back to it being from Denmark, Danish. Okay, so Finnish, perhonen. The picture, I think of a pear, the fruit, it's honing in on something. This pear is honing in on a butterfly. We have to tie this to Finland or Finnish somehow. So maybe this pear is honing in on that butterfly to finish him. Maybe you can hear that Mortal Kombat sound, finish him, finish him. Finally is Russian, and the way to say that is baboshka. This babe says, ouch, he's being pricked or something. It's at the doctor, and then he goes, I'm okay. Babe, ouch, okay. It's not quite right, but if you keep those syllables in your mind, you can probably get the word babochka. It's close enough. A butterfly comes in, maybe that's who administers the prick, a little pinch, maybe they're drawing blood or giving a vaccine. This butterfly does it, and the babe goes, ouch, and then he's like, okay, not a big deal. For the word Russia, I think of rushing, something rushed, right? So maybe this is a really rushed visual, right? So this babe suddenly gets pricked by a butterfly, ouch, okay. Really rushed. All right, that's all 10 languages, how to say butterfly. I'm gonna take 30 seconds to distract your brain, and then we'll come back and see if you can remember them. I'm gonna show you some highlights of my trip to Silicon Valley Comic-Con. It's pretty interesting. Here we go. We'll come back and I'll test you. So here we go. English, butterfly, obviously. French, papillon. Spanish, mariposa. Italian, farfalla. Dutch, vlinder. German, Schmetterling. Portuguese, borboleta. Danish, sommerfugel. Finnish, perhonen. And Russian, babochka. Anyways, I hope this helps a little bit. I'm sure in future videos we'll talk more about learning vocab for languages, but this one was just to give you a little taste of how to do it with a simple word in different languages and to teach you the basics of the linking method. Take one item, link it to the next. Like this video, subscribe, leave comments if you have any questions or suggestions for future videos. I'll be back with another random memory tip video in no time. I'm out.